welcome back to the Peaceful Creatives podcast. So happy to be back with another episode. As always, I always do this little spiel at the beginning. And today I'm talking about one of the topics that I've actually noticed coming up in the conversations that I've been having with clients recently, quite a few times, and something that I know is a real consistent problem, not just at one point throughout your business kind of journey, running your creative business, but also as you move through time and experience and, raise your prices, change your offers, scale your business to the point where you are leveling up your expertise and changing the types of clients that you want to work with. And this is something that I see pop up in those sorts of phases of the business. And the problem I'm going to be talking about is attracting clients who aren't investing in your higher ticket services. So whether this is because you have recently raised your prices and you're finding that clients are actually more drawn to a lower package that you might have created, or they're coming to you and saying, I'd love to work on this thing, but I don't quite have the budget for that right now. Or maybe you have just created a new package. Maybe you feel like you want to pivot or expand your expertise, created a high ticket package, and you're not quite getting people going for that package. You're getting inquiries, you have potential clients getting in touch, but for some reason they feel more drawn to the packages that are a slightly lower investment, or they're coming to you and saying, okay, that's way out of my budget. Like I said, this is something that I definitely see pop up, and it's a real point of, I guess, it creates a real confidence wobble, because it's not just a case of, oh, I have no idea where my client's going to come from. People are getting in touch. They are getting in touch with you. They like your work. They like what you do. But for some reason, they're just not biting on that higher price. Pricing in itself is such an emotional roller coaster when you run your own business, that it's these sorts of things that can really make you start to question whether it's a you problem. Is it that your work isn't good enough? Is it that people aren't valuing your expertise enough? Is it that you're just not attracting the right people? And then it brings up the question of okay, well, what is the answer? How do you get people to come to you for those higher packages? How do you almost remove those lower packages from your kind of offer ecosystem, if that's something you want to do? And how can you focus on selling a high ticket signature service to the people that you really, really want to work with? So I just want to share this episode because I really believe that the issue here, if this is what is happening to you, if you find yourself in a cycle of attracting people who aren't going for that higher package, it's very rarely that you are the problem. I've not really ever worked with a creative expert who, I've looked at their work and thought, oh, you're way overcharging. This just does not happen with me. The people that I work with are genuine creative experts, great at what they do, great at delivering the service, amazing at sharing the expertise and really bringing value to their clients. The issue is that there's a disconnect between those expertise, that level of expertise that you have, let's say, and the clients who you really want to work with. And it's not just a case of the clients who, have a really cool business or, are really fun to work with, or maybe they're really great at following your processes. Those things are important, but it's also reaching people at the level that they are ready to invest. So, 2-3K service, it's more about, getting people who are ready to invest that amount, sure, but they're also really focusing on the work itself. That investment is a big investment, don't get me wrong, but with a lot of people offering that sort of price range, it becomes a decision of okay, this is a price range where I can find lots of designers, copywriters, photographers at the same sort of level. Let's pick the one whose work I like the best, or let's pick the one who stands out to me as a really nice person. That's the decision there. When you get up to the level of people investing 8K plus, 8K, 10K, 15K in your offer, the question is less so, oh, is the work cool and is the person cool to work with? It's then answering those problems that they have at that level of investment. And this is the piece that I would love to talk about. How do you reflect the value of a high ticket service in your marketing? And there are a few things that I always see people tripping up with. I will talk to someone and they will say, I've launched this 10K service, but people for some reason keep going for this 5K one, or they keep asking if I can adjust the budget to much lower. Is it me? Is it the work? Is it something that I'm doing wrong? And it's not that you're doing something wrong, it's that we need to address that disconnect. 100% of the time, I will go over to their, Instagram, wherever it is that they are marketing, and I will see some little pieces that I feel like are throwing up a disconnect between the expert offering a 10K service and the client wanting to invest 10K in that offer. This can also apply if you're raising your prices significantly. So let's say you previously charged that, like I said, that 2-3K mark, and you're at a point where you want to charge 5K, 6K. This is still creating, a step that we have to make ourselves with our marketing, because again, the client who is investing in that lower amount is a different client to who is investing in the higher amount. So again, we're just creating those bridges. We're building bridges between us as the expert, the offer that we share, and the client who is happy to invest in that price. And maybe if you are in that position where you notice that, yes, I'm getting inquiries, the people that are getting in touch are really great potential clients, but for some reason they just don't want to invest in my higher prices, then maybe there's something here. One of these mistakes, I'm going to go through 5 things that you notice as something that you tend to do in your marketing. And let's see if there's a little tweak we can make to be really speaking to those people and encouraging people to not just invest that amount, but really value your offer, your service at that amount as well, because that's where you get those people booking in at those higher level services, those high ticket services. So the first mistake, number 1, is not meeting your ideal client at the level that they are at. So again, we're going back to that idea of if you're charging 10K for your offer, for your personal brand photography, for your copywriting service, for your web design service, any of those things, you want your client to be in the position where they have a 10K problem. You offer a 10K service, they have a 10K problem that they want to be solved. What I often see is instead of speaking to the clients who are at that position in their business where they're happy to invest 10K, I'm going to use that as the example. I know we don't necessarily all have to charge 10K. I'm just going to use it as a benchmark for this episode to talk through some examples. But to sell those high ticket services, you want to be attracting high ticket clients who are ready to invest that amount. We don't want people who, it's going to be a real stretch for them to invest, to work with you, because then it becomes a difficult relationship. There are plenty of people out there who are ready to invest in these high ticket services and they're just waiting for the right person to come along. And that really is a belief that I would love for you to have. The right people are out there. It's just about finding them and connecting with them. And the connecting piece is speaking to those people on their level, talking about the problems that they're going through in their business or their life, like whatever it is you're helping to solve, showing that you understand where they are, what they're thinking about investing in your service, whether you can understand the goals that they have for their business or for themselves, whoever it is that you work with. It's meeting them at the point where you are talking through the thought processes that they're going through. An example I see here that is on the mistake side of this is, let's say that you have a high ticket service, but in your marketing, you're talking to people as if they are at the DIY level. So I see this often, maybe it's an Instagram post that says, are you sick of DIYing your website? Work with me and I can do the website for you. That is a problem that a lot of people have, sure, but the likelihood of someone who is investing 10K having previously been in the position where they're DIYing is kind of slim. These people are at a different level in their business or at a different point in their lives. Maybe the problem is not quite aligning with where they are. Instead, is it that these people are trying to scale a team? Is it that they're trying to reach a bigger audience? Is it that they're trying to get stocked in supermarkets? Really have a think about who your people are and the problems that they might have, and then speak to them at that level. Another example could be, talking about the feelings of working with you. Let's say you offer a copywriting service. If the result that you're sharing is like, oh, you can build confidence in your business, again, are the people who are investing that amount at that level where what they're looking for is to build confidence? Or is it more likely that investing that higher ticket amount is looking for more specific, measurable goals? Are they instead looking for increased sales? Are they looking for bigger opportunities? It's really getting into the headspace of who it is you want to work with and the problems that they're experiencing in their business, so you can talk very specifically to them at that level. These people showing that they are being understood and seeing that you're a person who gets where they are is going to be one of the main factors for you attracting people who are ready to invest at that higher level. If you're talking about DIYing, if you're talking about building confidence, if you're talking about getting set up and getting, up and running, if you're talking about problems that were very relevant when you were charging much less, but maybe are less and less relevant as you work with a client who's willing to invest more and more, you will notice that you're still attracting the same level of client as before into the same sort of marketing, the same sort of messaging, but those clients cannot pay these higher prices now. So it's just meeting the client where they are, where their problems lie, what it is that they're thinking, what they are struggling with when it comes to taking the next steps with your projects, and also the goals that they have for their businesses as well. The next mistake is something that you definitely will have heard before, because I have heard so many people talk about this, but it is such a relevant point, and that is focusing on the deliverables that you share instead of the transformations of your project. I am going to try and give this a little bit of a different twist because, like I said, you 100% would have heard people say this before. But what I'm talking about here is in your marketing, sharing a list of, when you work with me, you get this. You get 3 logo designs, a brand color palette, a brand font system, etc., etc. Or you get 150 brand images, you get a photography style guide, or, a list of what it is that you offer. That's all well and good. And those things are not important. It is still important for people to see what it is that they're going to get in the package. But again, people who are ready to invest higher amounts of money into the service, they are going to be looking at those things, but what feels more important is what those things actually deliver in the business. So sure, we get all of these things in a brand package, but what does that mean for the business at the other side? What does a cohesive brand font system mean for the business once the package is finished? What does a website tone of voice guide give to the client at the end of the project? It's those things that these people are going to be focusing on, because again, if they are putting, let's say, again, for the example, 10K into working with you, yes, those things are great. They are the things that they're looking for, the deliverables. But what are those deliverables going to produce on the other side of the project? This is where these people will be tuning into the value of the package. Yeah, sure, I get all those things, but I can also get those things if I pay half the amount to someone else. The other thing I want to pick on here, because a lot of us have these high ticket services that are at the, again, 8 to 15, let's say 20K mark, and we also offer some level of lower ticket offer. So maybe you have a signature service that is the high ticket offer, but you also have a smaller package just in case you want to make your work a little bit more accessible or work with different levels of clients. If you're focusing on a list of deliverables, it's very, very easy for your clients to just compare, okay, well, this is a 3K service and this is what I get. This is a 10K service and this is what I get. Actually, I feel like I can get the same sort of results with both of those lists of things. And I know that that's not true. I want you to know that I know that that isn't true. When you offer a bigger package, I know that you are offering so much more value. But for a client who is maybe less educated on your expertise, on the things that you do and the value that you create, A list of deliverables is only ever going to look like what it is. It's only ever going to look like a list of things that you get at the end of the project. Whereas if you can create different transformations for both of those packages, you can start showing that you are talking to two completely different types of client, right? The 3K client, the 10K client, they're two different people. On one side, you can talk about getting the business up and running and feeling great about launching your business or building confidence, those things that we talked about before. And on the other end, it's talking about those transformations of scaling the business or like growing your income, whatever that looks like. But that becomes two very different transformations for that client. And they start to pick the service, not based on the list of things that you get, but on the transformation that they can see that you are listing from the other side through client examples or through, just sharing your expertise and the value that you have offered before. You don't necessarily want the price to become the only deciding factor. You want the deciding factor to be the package that makes the most sense for that client, to meet them where they are. Again, kind of like the previous. The answer to the price question is always going to be the lowest package, right? It's going to be the 3K package instead of the 10K package. The answer to the transformation question is, do I want to get up and running or do I want to scale my business? And they become two different problems. And again, like these are just examples I'm using. It's not likely that everyone who I'm talking to or everyone that I work with is going to create the goal to scale your business, but it's just really thinking about those higher level problems and what we can talk to there. So mistake number 3 is not stating the obvious. And the obvious is the obvious for you. Because we as creatives, we live in these businesses, right? This is the place that we come into our own. It's where we do our best work. It's where we're so proud of what we create. And it's something most of the time that we have built entirely from scratch into becoming our full-time job and providing us with income that, increases beyond our previous jobs, and we see that we can create something that we really love, hopefully, if that's why you are here. And in that, we get into this cycle where things become very, very, very obvious to us on the inside of the business. We can know so much about the business, we can understand the business so deeply that everything becomes obviously, obviously that's included. Obviously this is something I can do. Obviously this is something I work through. And the obvious is never ever obvious to the people who are finding you for the first time. And so this can show up in a few different ways. One way is through your messaging. Sometimes we can talk in a language that is very easy for us to understand as the creatives behind the business. But when it comes to talking to clients who have never spoken to us before, people who have never found us before, or they don't understand what it is that we offer, that language becomes harder to understand. And the main way that I see this is by kind of like job titles or like a sort of elevator pitch, where instead of saying systems expert or, something like that, you start using words like concierge or, language that feels a little bit too flowery compared to what it is that you do. And there's so much space for that. Please, as creatives, especially if you are a writer, I don't want you to feel like you have to dull down the language that you use, but there's a time and a place for where you state the obvious and where you can create a little bit more depth and I guess that flowery element to the language. So that's the first side, is making your messaging super, super clear, like making sure that what you are talking about, it's so obvious that anyone who reads it is going to go, oh, you're talking about a branding service, you're talking about a photography service, you're talking about a copywriting service. We want that to be crystal clear. The next thing, once we've got that nailed down and we know that in our messaging we're being very clear, we're using terms that are understandable and we're making sure that our language is very easy to understand, we then want to make sure that we're repeating ourselves. This is something that so few of us do. We don't go into our marketing thinking, okay, I've already said this thing, but here's how I can say it again in a slightly different way or in a different format or using a different example. So often we feel like we have to go into our marketing completely reinventing the wheel. Like, what's a brand new concept that I can talk about? What is something that I've never ever shared before? What is something that is going to make people go, oh my God, this is brand new information. I'm so obsessed with this. And yeah, we want to create that excitement. We want to create that connection, but we want to do it in a way that is built into your messaging and your positioning. I want you to understand the work that you do, your expertise, so deeply, and the people that you're working with so deeply on that level, like we said before, understanding their problems, understanding their desires, understanding who they are as people. Those things you can repeat over and over and over again. And like I said, you can talk about things in a very different way. You can speak to problems using different formats. But I really, really want you to be repeating yourself over and over again to the point where people really see, okay, this is Jane and she does this thing and she is the go-to person for that thing. You don't want to have to feel like people are confused or like muddling through the content that you create to figure out what it is that you do. You want it to be super clear through the repetition and through the clarity of the language. So stating the obvious is super important for that. And again, it's obvious to you. That doesn't mean it's obvious to other people. The next mistake that I think is a popular one, especially for the people that I work with, I tend to work with people who are building their confidence in themselves as a creative expert. And maybe you already feel very confident in the work. Maybe you feel great about what it is that you do, what you offer in the projects themselves. But this also has to be reflected through the way that you talk in your marketing. And one thing I notice is almost like undermining your own expertise or undermining your own confidence in your content, in your marketing materials. This can come across in a lot of ways that I think often is quite tricky to notice if it's not an external party letting you know, like this is something that you might be doing. But I know I used to do this all the time in my marketing when I was early on in my business, and this was at a time where I was definitely constantly attracting people into my lower ticket service. I would be justifying everything that I was talking about, over explaining things in my marketing, over explaining why people needed to work with me as a brand and web designer, why they needed a website, and also sometimes even questioning the result, like, oh, maybe you want this and I can probably help with that, that sort of thing. Always dulling down the message because I felt like I wasn't confident enough to go, I can help with this. I can do this for you. Come to me and you'll be okay. And I find this so much. It's that real feeling of I need to justify why people would invest in me. And yeah, there's part of that, like that comes into the marketing. You want to really show the value in what you share, and you want to show that you are worth that high ticket investment to those clients. But you don't have to be like groveling to make that clear. You can make statements, you can be really concise, you can be really clear about what it is that you offer, and you can be so confident that that is something that you can do, because I know that you deliver an incredibly high standard of work to your clients. I know you do. I will not take anything else. But what I also want is for you to be talking in your marketing like that's the case. You almost want to be talking to people as if they have already decided that the investment is what they want to do. They already want to make the investment in their website, their photography, anything that you are working on. They are just deciding who is the right person for them. And the more that you over-justify, the more that you over-explain, you kind of break a little bit of trust of people who are like, I'm ready to go, like I just need to find the right person. Are you confident that you can do what it is that I'm looking for? So when in your marketing you're showing up saying, oh, I can probably do this, and like, oh, you definitely need a website because you need to do this, or you need copy because of this, you're kind of losing that trust. You're losing the impact that you have for the value of your work. And it's only going to make your potential clients question whether you're the right person. And when they're already ready to invest, any question marks around that investment and the value is going to make them go to someone else. Okay, our final marketing mistake for attracting high ticket clients is over marketing your lower pricing. And again, this is something that I see a lot. It's when you almost do your marketing as like pricing first, whether that is offering discounts, whether that's announcing that you're going to be raising your prices. So, oh, you best get in soon because I'm going to be raising my prices soon, regardless of whether that's true or not. Leading with the pricing first makes your client think of the pricing before anything else. And this kind of rolls all of the other points into one, because we get to this place where everything else becomes pointless because they're now thinking of the pricing first before the transformations, before the connection that they've built with you, before the confidence that you have in what it is that you offer. Your potential clients are now leading with, okay, well, it feels like I can get this cheaper, so that's what I'm going to do. Again, going back to the idea of like balancing a lower ticket and a higher ticket offer, as soon as you start focusing on pricing first, you create a decision based on price. And with that in mind, people are always going to gravitate towards the lower package because they're thinking of price before anything else and treating the price as the urgency instead of the result of the actual offer and the transformations that you provide in that package. The other thing that we can do here that I just want to pick up on as well is when we start to get a little bit of the fear around, oh, people are only getting in touch about my lower offer, maybe all people want is this lower investment, you can start to overmarket your lower ticket products or your lower ticket packages. You start to talk about these lower investments and you start to frame the urgency as the price instead of the transformation. And you can say, oh, if you are just upgrading from DIY, if you need a lower package, I also offer this thing, instead of pushing your signature service with 100% confidence. So we get into almost like a vicious cycle of, I'm worried that people aren't getting in touch to book my high ticket offer, so I'm going to market my low ticket offer instead. So then more people come into the low ticket offer and invalidate the high ticket offer even further in your mind. So again, you keep pushing the lower one, you worry that your prices are too high, you worry that you can never charge 10K or more, and it gets to the point where you lack total confidence in your ability to book high ticket clients whatsoever. Whereas actually you're dulling down that option by just focusing on the lower prices. This is maybe more on the positioning side of things. It's looking into the behind the scenes of like your business and how people perceive your business. If what people perceive is you offering lower ticket offers instead of your higher ticket signature service, that's how they will focus on the value of your work. So if they come to you and see, oh, they're sharing this 3K service, and then go on your website and see the signature service, they're already tuned into the lower price. So we really want to be pushing the main offer that you share with confidence, so people have that price as their benchmark. And if you can actually just be super transparent with your pricing on your website, through your consultation calls, across the business, then you get to let people make their minds up whether that is a good option for them or not, instead of you doing that work for them in your marketing. So let's wrap up here, and I just want to share that sometimes this truly is the difference between getting inquiries in from people who are just looking to work with you on your lower packages and people who are ready to invest straight away in your higher ticket signature service. A lot of it can be through these what feels like small details in your marketing, but that have such a big impact around how people connect with you, how people see your expertise, how they value the work that you do, and how they eventually then want to invest in you as a creative and the services that you offer. At these high levels, when people start to pay these amounts that feel like, I know when I started charging this like 8 to 10K mark, I was like, oh my God, I never thought I would be able to charge this much. But when people get to that level, they're looking for different results. They're looking for different problems. And I noticed they are different clients to work with. And I have to be super honest, I loved changing to that different level of pricing because I really feel the clients I work with are so dialed in to me as the expert, to the project as a whole. I have such a better experience working with high ticket clients. This is not to say that any of my other clients were bad at all. They weren't. But we both get to go into these projects with confidence. We get to really collaborate together on an end piece that is there to achieve a goal. And I really feel like working with people at this level is building a level of trust, a level of expertise, a level of confidence in me that I just really, really believe helps my business become easier. And if you find yourself in a space where you have this amazing high ticket service and either you're nervous to sell it because you're scared of the higher price, or you're worried that people aren't going to get in touch, or maybe the service is already live and you're just not finding people, going for that offer, I really want you to feed into the confidence of being that expert who works in that offer every single day. Share your expertise with confidence, share the transformations, and feel really good about saying, this is what I can offer for you. Talk about the depth of the service that you offer, and talk about yourself as a unique expert. Your expertise are unique from everyone else's. You want these people to feel safe in your offer. You want to build the trust that comes with working in this sort of way. And that is how to change from attracting people who are just working with you for the work and like, oh, I really love what you do, which is also important, but who also really value the expertise that you bring to the table and the value that you bring to their business or to their life or to their brand, whatever it is that you're working on. These people are coming to you and they're saying, can I trust you to be the expert who gets me from A to B? And I really want you to be sharing that, yes, I am that person. So I just want to go back to the beginning and a little wrap up for this episode. The first thing I just want to do as a little reframe is to really share that if you're finding that the price is a sticking point, I really don't want you to go straight to the price being the problem. There are so many things that you can do before you start wavering on the price that can really start bringing in the right people. And I want you to understand and believe that there are people out there who are ready to work with you at the higher price level. And it's just that you need to connect with them at their level. You just need to find them where they're ready to buy, where they're ready to jump into your schedule. I really want you to be talking to these people at the point where they can just jump in, book in, and there you go. You've got your amazing high ticket client ready to jump into your schedule. And I really hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope this is an informative one. I would love to know if any of these little things feel relevant for your marketing at the moment, and if there's anything that jumps out as, oh yeah, I didn't realize I was doing this, but I think this is going to really help. And if you want to talk through some ways that you can shift that messaging, that positioning in your business, feel free to drop me a message and I would love to talk through this with you. You can find me at Gatto Creative Mentor on Instagram, or my YouTube is also at Gatto Creative Mentor. I'd love to see you over there as well. And if you would love to go into this work in a little bit more depth, inside my group program, Book Not Busy, we have an amazing profile tool called Your 3P, Your Perfect Person Profile, where we go through all of the tiny details of who your perfect people are, what it is that they're thinking about, what are their problems, what are they going to connect with, and what it is that you can offer for them to really, really connect with these people in your marketing. I am opening up the program next month, and at the moment, the wait list is open to join. So if that sounds really interesting to you, feel free to jump onto the waitlist and you'll get early access when we open up the doors. And in the meantime, like I said, get in touch if you have any questions or if you want to talk through anything. I'll be back next week with another episode. I'll speak to you soon.